Hi everybody, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me today for Stretch the Sketch. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be making a page for the opposite side of this page protector in which I have some journaling in one side. I'm going to be making a layout today that's 8.5 by 11 inches, and it's not going to be of a photo, it's going to be of a postcard. I'm making a pocket because I want to store a bunch of ephemera and pamphlets and things that I got while we were on the trip. So I start by measuring out 8.5 by 11 inches in the center of this piece of black paper. I cut off the corners so that I could fold in each of the sides. And then I cut another piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, that black piece of paper, so that I could place that on top. That will be the background of my page that I'm going to make today. I cut some angles on the tops of the left and right tab so that everything will fit together and that you won't be able to see any of the paper once it's all attached. Now I'm putting some ATG adhesive on all three tabs, and I'm attaching this 8.5 by 11 inch piece of black paper on top of it, and this creates a pocket. And now I can store all of my memorabilia from my vacation inside of there. So now I'm choosing this background paper. I'm guessing this is K & Company. I'm not really sure what the brands are on all the papers I'm going to use today because I have them in a big folder of scrapbooking Halloween supplies, and a lot of them do not have any manufacturer strips on them. A lot of them came from paper pads. But I do think that this is a K & Company piece of paper. I'm cutting it slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11 inches so that you could see the black border around the outside. This is the postcard that I'm going to be scrapbooking today. It's from Salem from several years ago. I believe this was a 2016 album. I'm going to back the postcard on some black cardstock. Then my camera ran out of memory and stopped recording, but luckily all I did was cut 2 strips of paper and I backed each of them with some black cardstock. So I have one vertical strip and one horizontal strip, and I'm following the sketch to decide what sizes to make both of these strips. The sketch that we're using this month is by Lisa Heidi, and it's from the Sketch and Scrap blog. For some reason, I've been putting off doing this for a very long time. Probably just other projects came along. And when I saw this sketch, I thought this would be perfect for finishing up this album. This album is from 2016, or the photos in it are from 2016. And I know I didn't scrapbook it right away, but this album has been almost done for a really long time. When my family goes on vacation, or even just goes away for the day, I like to create a journal right after the event happens. So when we go away for a few days, I try to do some journaling each day or each night. And a lot of times I'll take photos to help me remember what happened. So I might take a photo of a sign of a restaurant we went to or a street name. And I later delete those photos, but they help me to reconstruct what happened and tell the story in a journal. And then after the vacation, I type up the journal, and then I print it out on 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of paper, and then I put them in these smaller page protectors, and I put them right into my album. And then I don't have to journal on each page. Journaling on scrapbook pages is not the easiest thing for me. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but it's really important to me to make sure that I've documented the story of the day out or the vacation. So this is my way of making sure I record the story, but not having to include journaling on every single page. I backed the postcard on black and then some orange pattern paper. And then I thought it would be nice to have a banner strip going horizontally across the page. And I first put on the purple pattern paper that was the flip side of the background paper, but it was just too much purple, so I just changed it to a green pattern. I really wanted to use the flip side of the background paper because it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern on the other side, but I had to just accept that the green would look better. I didn't think that I had to put a title on this page, but since it's the very last page in the album, I decided to write "See You Next Year." For "See You Next," I'm using these very small Jillibean soup letters I love Jillibean soup letters, alphabet stickers. I am very sad that those are no longer available from the manufacturer. They're still making cut files, I believe, but they're no longer making their paper or embellishments, and I'm really going to miss all of it, especially the letter stickers. I attached them down to a small strip of paper so I could easily move them around. Those letters from the word year, I think that was from a citrus twist kit set of letters. They're puffy letters. I had to move the postcard over a little bit so I could fit those letters in there. The bat that you see on the top of the page, that was stuck to something. I found it as I was going through some supplies that were unrelated, and there was this bat. I thought that that would be perfect to go right over the title. On this sheet of stickers, I found 2 spider webs that are perfect to fit in 2 of the corners of the vertical pattern paper that's in the background. There was a spider. I stuck him up on the top, and there are these yellow stars, and I started adding those in places that I planned on making some clusters. I began to start creating those clusters around the postcard. I had a cauldron that's from a Jolie's pack of stickers, a Recollections brand crystal ball, and this candelabra and skull, those are from a K & Company pack. I decided against those yellow stars. I had a number of stars in a container on my desk that were from previous projects, so I decided that I was going to try out some of those. I tried out some leftover silver and gold stars, but then I realized that I had these leftover teal stars that I recently used on a layout. And even though there's no other teal on the layout, I found that I really like the combination of teal with Halloween colors. So they were already made. I thought that I had just the right amount, so I decided to add those to the layout. I moved that cluster down to the bottom, the one with the skull. I just thought that there were too many embellishments concentrated in the same area. Now I'm adding some jewels to the centers of the stars, and whenever I'm gluing jewels to wood, I always put a little extra glue because I feel that the stickers don't really stick that well to wood in the long run, so a little bit of glue doesn't hurt. I really wanted to use that banner somewhere on the page, but it doesn't end up on the page. Now I'm moving on to some photo corners, and I punched them out of the green paper because I didn't want that strip of green to be the only green on the page. I'm also punching out some black photo corners that I'm going to slightly offset so that you could see the black on the inner edge, and that will separate the photo corners from the postcard. I use some ATG adhesive to attach the 2 photo corners together, and then again to attach each one of them down to the postcard. I had to go back and fix this first set of photo corners that I layered. I layered them differently than I did all the others. And now I'm going through my embellishments because I want to make each of those clusters a little bigger, add a little bit more detail to each one of them. This is a set of Recollections stickers. It mainly has bottles of potions, but there are a couple of other little stickers mixed in there. There are some bones, there's a spider web, there are some spiders, there's a fly, and I like the way those little touches, especially the ones that have white on them, were a nice addition to each of the clusters. And then I even put one of the spiders on the spider web. I took off the spider that I had added earlier, and he ended up sticking to my floor, but I still was able to rescue him and put him back on a sticker sheet. I added a bottle to the bottom right-hand corner, and then the rest of the bottles on that sticker sheet seemed a little bit too big for this layout. So I had a slightly smaller bottle. It's a little bee sticker, and I used that in the top cluster. Now I'm adding some jewels to the background. This set of jewels has a darker orange and a lighter yellowish orange in 2 different sizes. And I wanted to add a couple of those jewels in both of the sizes to each of the clusters. I added some of the darker orange jewels to each of the photo corners to make sure that there's some attention on the postcard, which is the focal point of the layout. And then in the clusters, I'm adding one of those larger jewels and then a couple of the really small ones. I don't want to add too many jewels because I already have jewels on the stars, but I did want to add a little touch of orange to each of the clusters. So that was the last touch for the layout, and now I'm going to assemble my page. I have, as you saw earlier, the journaling page on the other side. That's just one of many journaling pages. Now I'm going to begin adding some of the brochures and other memorabilia that I collected while we were on vacation to that pocket. So I'm gathering up some of these brochures. I have a couple of postcards. These are all things that we did. That larger piece of paper in the background, that was a rubbing that was done while we were at the wax museum. I put everything into this Witch Village paper bag that I saved. And now I'm tucking everything into the pocket, and this completes that album for me. So I'm really excited to finally get this project completed. This was a very different type of layout for me. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please take a look in the description box. You'll find links to the channels of all the other scrapbookers who are following along with Stretch the Sketch. I hope that you will check out their videos. There are so many talented scrapbookers who take part in Stretch the Sketch each month. Thank you so much for watching the video, everybody. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.